Hey, you guys, welcome back to AgeForward Podcast. I am Sarai,
And I'm Kayode.
and today we're going to be talking about mental health. So let's get started.
You want to just tell them obviously, I don't know if you guys could tell. We probably can't tell. We've taken a hiatus for a decent amount of time, for respective reasons. Mine was specifically for football. I had a lot I had to do with school, football, traveling, different things. So, and music as well. So, I just had to take some time just to chill out, get my priorities straight, get everything I need to do and set in order. And now we're back, and she had her own reasons too as well.
Yeah, I took a little break because I just felt like it was needed. I felt very overwhelmed at the time. I was having a lot of anxiety. I was a little depressed. I also was smoking weed, so I stopped doing that, and I feel way better. I feel so much better. I feel like, I don't know, fly. But yeah, we're back though.
And how was your experience with that been like so far? I know you started at like
Ooh, like 2 weeks ago, huh?
2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster. To be honest, in the beginning, it was really hard. I had really bad stomach aches. Like, I couldn't eat. I'm trying to think what else I went through because like it's just like completely gone now. Uh, I was night sweats, um, really bad anxiety, um, depression. I was like craving it at first, but then after like a few days, I'll say like 5 days,
Mm-hmm.
that went away, and then I started feeling really, really good. My appetite now is crazy. Like
Really?
I can eat all day long.
Bro.
Yes, and I missed that because it's like kept on wondering why I wasn't gaining weight, but like, I guess that's the fact. When I read the side effects of marijuana, it's actually insane.
Yeah.
At the time, I really felt like it was helping me, but like, and it was. I feel like when you misuse marijuana, like that's when it starts to like starts to affect you in a negative way. But at the time, I felt like it was helping my anxiety, but then it just started to become like more of like
Like a
a
crutch?
burden.
Oh, a
I feel
burden?
like because it would take my money.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't able to eat and I was losing weight, but then I feel so
Okay,
much
for
better.
sure.
I feel free.
Yeah, because I remember when you first started, I was on TikTok,
Mhm.
and you were like 2 days in, and you were like frequently posting. So I was like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, you got to take your mind off things. I
Yeah.
already know how that goes.
And I stopped because I'm like, I'm about to do a podcast. I wanted to talk more about it, but
Mhm.
I stopped the like posting because I really wanted to like share like my experience like in depth, but like it really like I don't know, it's so amazing. I like really encourage anyone who's smoking weed to stop because you'll feel so much better after. And there's so many other things you can do to like help your anxiety and like,
Mhm.
pray, go to church, talk to people. I feel like my whole main reason was to distract myself because I noticed I started to like want to smoke more every time I was alone.
Mhm.
So like I feel like being around people are just really starting to like go to something else like reading or
Mhm.
writing poetry. I try to do that too. That really helped me.
For sure. No, I understand. I feel like a lot of people our age or just people in general don't feel comfortable with being alone. Like
Mhm.
and it's not lonely. There's a difference between being alone and being lonely.
Right.
Cuz yeah, you can be around a bunch of different people and still feel lonely, but
Right.
just being salute and feel like solidified, just relaxed and being alone.
Mhm.
And I just realized like a lot of times I'll find myself alone, and I'll try to go back to old things, like look back in the past, like, oh man, I need to be in a relationship. I'm like,
Mhm.
no, you don't.
You
Just chill
don't.
out.
Right.
Or oh, I need to go hang out with these people and this, that, do that, and third. I'm like, no, you just need to be alone and just let God speak. Like sometimes you're alone for a reason.
Facts.
And I think also that helped me with writing my music too, because I was
Mhm.
like, okay, I don't need to be hyperactive, doing all these things. I just need to be comfortable with being with myself.
I was just about to say
Oh
that.
yeah.
I feel like you have to be comfortable with being with yourself. Like I went to the movies alone for the
For real?
first time. Yeah, not too long ago I went to go see Guardians of the Galaxy. It was fire, by the way.
Oh, for
But
real?
yeah, I just feel like I was so scared about that. And I was like talking crap with my sister does all the time. Era, she be going to the movies by herself, and I'm just like, you're so weird. But I did it, and I was in the entire theater by myself, and it was
For
like the
real?
best experience ever.
Tell me why I was literally just talking to. Okay, so like I'm a what is it called? Mandatory reporter, but like I'm also, which means you just gotta at my church. I gotta be there looking around to make sure people aren't doing weird things to kids. You know what I mean? Because people are just crazy.
Right.
So I was there.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
because I work with kids. Like,
yeah.
Amanda, yeah.
And so I was there, and we were doing like some discussion or whatever, and they're like, "What's something that you would never do alone?" And I was just thinking, I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, oh, go to the movies. I was like, I'd never go to the movies alone. But now I'm actually like questioning whether or not I do it because
Do
Spider-Man
it.
came out,
Do
and I
it.
don't have no friends like
Yeah.
that I would go to see Spider-Man with. Like, 'cause
Right.
people don't know that. Like, I'm very like I'm a people person, but that's when I'm like in a certain setting. Well, I don't really be hanging out with people like that for real. But I really want to see Spider-Man, so I was like,
No, same.
you know what, I might have to go and just watch that on my own.
It was the like funniest, most emotional experience. Like, I got to like really like crack up, talk to myself in there. Yeah, I was like crying. It was so fun. Like, I just have no complaints. I would do it again for sure.
Oh, the movie was sad or something? Something happened?
Yeah, it was super sad. It had a lot of sad moments.
Okay, yeah, no, don't tell me. I might
I'm
have
not.
to watch it. I'm not sure if I want to watch it or not.
No, watch it. It's so good.
For real?
Good. Yes.
I know people were talking about Quill or something. I don't know what happens.
Who's that? Wait, which one's that one?
You watch the movie and you don't know who Quill is?
No, not right now.
This is human.
Human.
The leader of all of them, yeah.
That's his name, but his name is something else, huh? What do they call him?
No, that's his name in the movie, Quill.
Really?
But yeah, his real name is Chris Pratt.
No, but what do they call him? Like in the movie, they call him
Star-Lord.
Yeah.
Star-Lord. Okay.
Because like he has, I mean, I know he has like a specific name, but
no, I was like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Yeah, no.
Okay. Oh my god, but yes, Spider-Man, I'm gonna watch that. Isn't that the cartoon version?
Like it's the cartoon version. I think his name Miles Morales. Everybody's been saying it's so good.
Yep.
Like all of my friends have been posting about it, so I'm like, I have to go watch that movie.
Yep.
Like I have to. And the soundtrack is always like top notch.
What about Little Mermaid?
No, I didn't watch that.
Are you gonna go watch it?
I don't think so.
I heard something about that. I heard that like I be on Christian Talk a lot, but I heard about the marine spirits and stuff, and watching it is like really
for real?
Yeah, bad or something.
Oh, I didn't. I wasn't thinking about that. No, I wasn't thinking about it in that way. I was just like, I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. No, there's reasons, but I'm not finna get myself canceled. So
okay.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with or anything, but I'm not gonna get myself canceled. So I'm gonna just be quiet. But yeah, so back on mental health.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask what I think I asked, but you didn't get really in depth. But what was your reason behind just like stop smoking? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll tell you all the story. So, it was around Mother's Day, and I live far from my mom, and I have a roommate, but she wasn't home, so I was just alone. Like I said, when I'm alone, that makes me like want to smoke more. So I was alone that day, and I was super emotional. I was like really down, and I was just like, I want to go smoke. And at that time, I already had tried to stop because I linked with my friend Tara, and we went to church. And that day we were talking, and I was just like, I'm done smoking. Like, this is my last blunt. Like, I'm done. And then she was like, yeah, like, you can do it. She was like encouraging me and stuff. So then I was done for like 2 days. Then it was Mother's Day. And like, how the enemy tries to attack you and whisper in your ear. So he was making me feel like I was alone and stuff, and like I was down. So I went to go, it took a while, but I went to go buy some weed. And then that day I just was feeling really down. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to smoke. But what's crazy is every single time I would go to the smoke shop, they would have like 14 grams for 25. But since every time I would go, like recently, I was only able to get like a small amount. So I was like, that's really God, like, trying to like, I'm not going to give you the ability to get more than you need to. Like, well, I mean, I don't need anything, but, like more than you, like, because you shouldn't even be doing it because you already told me you were going to stop. And you didn't. But I had to get a small amount. So it was only like maybe like 2 blunts worth. So, so I rolled that. I smoked a blunt on Mother's Day, I think. And I just got overwhelming anxiety to the point where I felt like I was going to die. Like, I just couldn't breathe.
For real?
Yeah, it was really bad. And I'm like, it was supposed to help my anxiety, but like, it was like hindering it. And then that night too, I had really like weird dream. I had a very, very weird dream. I don't want to get into depth about it because it was super weird, but it was just very sexual. And
Oh.
I just felt like I was being attacked like
Mhm.
spiritually, and I was just like, oh no, like I'm done. So then the next morning I just threw everything else that I had away, like all my supplies,
Oh,
like
really?
all my lighter, my grinder, like all of my weed supplies, I threw it away, and yeah, I was just done.
Wow.
I
That's
gave it up.
crazy.
I was like,
Congratulations.
thank you. But
And
yeah,
how have you felt like after that? Like,
I felt
what
a
do you feel like you've been Oh, my bad. What do you feel like you've been learning? Like, or how do you feel like, I don't know how to phrase this, but like, do you feel like God's been speaking to you in any type of way, or like things have been more clear, or?
most definitely. I started reading a few books by Joyce Meyer.
Oh
I
yeah, I know
posted them.
Joyce. Yeah,
I don't know if you saw, but yeah,
I think
there's
I slid up on something
yeah,
that
I
she
think you
posted. Yeah.
did. But I'm reading one called Managing Your Emotions, and then I think the other one's called Straight Talk, and it's about like anxiety, like being a
Mhm.
Christian, like and experiencing like anxiety, depression, all those
Mhm.
emotions or whatever. So I definitely felt like a pull. But I've always, had that. But I've been feeling it a lot more. I'm able to hear him more. I feel like also when you're smoking, your like mind is clouded.
Mhm.
So like you get like it's like a different reality. I don't know how to like make it make sense to someone who doesn't smoke, but like when you smoke, it's like you like are jumping into like a different type of reality. Like everything doesn't seem like
No, I
real.
know. I've smoked before, so I
Oh,
know.
okay.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't seem real. Like everything seems like a little like you're in like a dream world type.
Mhm.
So like I feel like once that was gone, like I finally able to like experience my emotions more clearly, like experience like other people more
Mhm.
clearly, and focus a lot more. Um, I feel like also like it's easier to get like distracted. So I just feel like lately I've been, able to like experience God on a different level because, now I'm not too clouded.
Mhm.
So yeah.
No, I that completely makes sense because I haven't been smoking, but like just other things. You know how people have vices or whatever, different
Yeah.
things that they're doing. But recently, like I've been praying,
Mhm.
or in the past, this was like a huge. It was a crazy revelation that I came to. So like I listen to music,
Mhm.
and recently, or not recently, probably like a month or two ago, someone was just like, "Stop listening to secular music,
Mhm.
or certain secular music, because
Right.
Happy Birthday and any Disney song that you listen to is secular. It's not worship music." So,
Right.
but I was like specifically certain rap music. I was like, I need to
Mhm.
stop listening to it because it's just whatever. So I was listening to worship music and just found different Christian artists that I like because that was my big problem.
Definitely.
Listening to certain Christian artists, I was like, yeah, it's rap, but you're cringy. Like, I
Yeah.
can't listen to this. Like, I would never. Like,
Definitely.
I'd rather literally or listen to worship music all day of
Uh-huh.
just singing and whatever than
Right.
listen to this. So
Mhm.
I had to find different rap music or whatever. But I was listening to this one singer. I can't remember her name. Can't remember her name. It doesn't matter.
Wait, I think I
Her
know who you're
name's like
talking about.
Madison something. But
Wait, maybe we're not talking about the same
no,
person.
probably not.
No, but I've been putting on to some new
For
Christian
real.
music too. Yeah.
So like I was listening to it and I was like, God, please give me like wisdom.
Vanaya King.
I've seen her before.
She's fire.
But it was like, knowledge is different than wisdom. Wisdom is
Right.
applied knowledge. So I was
Right.
like, God, give me wisdom, discernment, just so I could live that out, right? I was
Mhm.
listening to music driving back from school, and I've been feeling some type of way for a long time. Someone said something, I can't remember what they said in the song, but it was like blinds taken off, like, oh, you've been looking at a wall, like I just moved the
Mhm.
wall. I was like, oh my God. I realized that I had built up an irritation towards God, like for a long time,
Mm.
based off of how I had grown up and things people had told me. Because there's a
Wow.
lot of people who have like they don't have faith. Like they said
Mhm.
they're Christians and they have faith or whatever, but they're not. They don't have strong faith. Like
Mhm.
they don't have faith that can move a mountain, right? You know what I
Definitely.
mean? So I was like, there had been people in my life telling me, no, you can't go into this industry. God won't bless that. No,
Mhm.
you don't need success, and this is not important, and blah blah blah, and
Same.
football, whatever. And
Right.
then I realized that I had let other people tell me what God is and who God is,
Mhm.
and you
Wow.
could believe God is Jehovah Jireh, the giver,
Mhm.
the provider. But if you don't believe that He's that for you, then
Like
He doesn't have that
right.
power, or He has that power, but you don't allow Him to have that power in your life. And so I was like frustrated, but then I realized in the car and I was like, but then that also has to do to the devil because the devil only attacks what you believe. You know what I mean? He attacks your beliefs, what you believe in God. And so I was like, oh, these are lies. These
Mhm.
are just lies. I've been believing lies and I don't really know who God is. And I was like, so
Mhm.
I have to redevelop that belief for God.
Wow.
And then from there, that all clicked right before I was going into these camps and going to these college visits. And so
Mhm.
I was like, my confidence, I was like, there's a reason why I didn't feel too confident in certain areas. It's because I
Mhm.
didn't believe God in those areas. I didn't
Wow.
let God into those areas of my heart. I still was clinging on to certain things that I just didn't understand. And
Mhm.
so I was like, whoa. Like I was just like, that's crazy. And I took so many notes, like so many notes down from just the past couple days or weeks when I was going through certain things.
Wow.
Um, what did I write? I think after that I wrote, oh yeah, no, I wrote that was something else for my story or whatever. But yeah, it was just absolutely crazy. And then from there, I've felt so peaceful. Like the peace that I felt after that and like really diving into my Bible and reading. Because,
Mhm.
some people they'll open, read the verse of the day. But I
Right.
was just like, you know what? I'm not even gonna be on my phone when I have my time with God in the morning. What I'm gonna start doing is like I actually open up my Bible and then I go through and read, take notes, highlight. I bought highlighters to get me more inspired to just be in my Bible or
Wow.
sticky notes to write down, just so that I'm actively
Mhm.
working. Because Matthew 6, which can sum up everything that Christians have to do, or I say Christian, but like a lot of the times people say religion,
Mhm.
and I don't really feel like
You're religious.
Christianity is a religion,
Right.
because a religion is a practice and what I do is not a practice. It's like a
Mhm.
way of life. This
Mhm.
is how I live because I've been called to live this way, not
Definitely.
practice this. I feel like when you're practicing something, it's not a heart posture, it's
Mhm.
a practice. But when you actually live something out, that is your heart posture. And that's what Jesus came down here. That's why I had a problem with the Pharisees and Sadducees, because they practice all these things, but in their heart, he called
Mhm.
them whitewashed tombs, like they were empty. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So I'm just like, I say that, but whatever. So I was like, I want to inspire myself to live this out instead of practicing it and being like, okay, I'm sitting upright, but like God doesn't have my heart. And that was the whole reason. But after I did that and after all that came to me, after praying countlessly and like actually looking and seeking his kingdom,
Mhm.
which is what I was going to get on Matthew 6, when he says, seek first his kingdom and his righteousness and everything else will be given to you.
Mhm.
I was talking to my friends. I was like, seeking is not. I was like, the reason why we have a problem. Oh, I've been asking God for this for the longest time, and I've been praying and I've been reading my Bible, and it just seems like nothing's coming to me. You play hide and go seek. You're not standing there after you get done counting. You're not standing there just looking around like, let me see where I can find someone. You're
Right.
like going after people, opening cabinets, ducking under cars, looking where you can
Literally.
find someone. That's what seeking is. It's like a pursuit.
Wow.
And so I was
Mhm.
like, my relationship with God needs to be a pursuit where I'm constantly pursuing his heart, constantly pursuing him in
Wow.
order to find him. And I was like,
Definitely.
salvation is given to you. That's a given.
Mhm.
But the kingdom is not. The
Right.
secrets of the kingdom are not. That's why he says seek versus kingdom. You have to find that on your own. And it
Mhm.
comes from having a heart posture. Um, and yeah, it was just crazy just seeing how the Bible correlates and all these different things and how I need to apply it to my life. So
Definitely.
yeah.
And that reminded me of what you asked me to like have I felt like more called. Also, one thing I really wanted to do, I was like anytime I feel the urge to like smoke, I want to pray or read my
Mhm.
Bible. So I've been doing that too. So my praying has been more strong like I also been trying to too cuz like the stories in the Bible are literally what we experience.
Mhm.
They're literally like a handbook to life.
Mhm.
So it's like I want to know these stories like cuz I know them,
Mhm.
growing up hearing them, but I really need to know these things because it's like growing we grow up and we're like, we don't know what to do, like,
Mhm.
but it's like it's literally written.
Mhm.
Everything that's
That
happening is
that's
written.
crazy what you said. There was something that I never knew also. Jesus was like, the Pharisees were talking to him and he was like, I'll destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days, right?
Mhm.
And then I don't know why it never correlated in my head that he was the temple. His body is the temple. So like
Wow.
I don't know, it just like clicked in my head. I was reading my Bible and then it was like a note that they left and he was talking about, I was like, "Oh my God, like how did I not see that?" Like, and then he also talks about how our bodies are temples. Like
Mhm.
we house the Holy Spirit. And so I was just like,
Right.
"Oh, they were like the Pharisees, that's why you could tell their hearts were hardened." He was like, "Oh, how are you going to rebuild the temple in 3 days? Like it took 47 years to build this temple or whatever, blah blah blah." And then it also talks about how even the disciples didn't know what he was talking about until after he had died and risen. And then I was just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
And it's
Like,
so crazy because it's like when people tell you Bible stories or other people read the Bible to you, you receive it in such a different way than when you read it yourself. It's like God speaks to you specifically when you read it on your own. So you have to read the Bible on your own.
Yeah, you have
You
to,
have
and you have
to.
to. And it's crazy how many times you can read something, not get it, and then you go back
Right?
so many times and you find something new every single time. I'm just like, it's so crazy how applicable the Bible is to life,
Yep.
and how, like, as you grow, you see things differently. So, like, I don't know, it's just weird, like, how my mind unlocks different things as I've grown and
As
just
you get
been
older.
like, I did not see that before. I did not know that before. I did not understand how this was applicable to this situation. Could have helped a lot.
Right.
But like, it is what it is now, you know what I mean?
That's why it's very important to read your Bible. I feel like you should read your Bible every single year, like reread it, because like you said, as you get older, it does change and you receive it completely differently. Like some of the stories, like even like the one of the like the main stories, like Noah's Ark and stuff.
Yeah.
Like now, if you read that, I'm sure it will have like a whole different message. Like you know, so
And it was the same with
very important.
who was I talking about David? You know how they're like, oh, David, a man after God's own heart, whatever. And everybody's like, oh my God, David is such an amazing man. They were comparing David to, I think, Saul, or I think it was Saul. But they were talking about how David was immoral. Like, if you look at David's life and everything he did, he was very immoral. The only difference between him and Saul is he obeyed, Saul didn't. David, the reason why he said a man after God's own heart is because when they took everything from David, I think he was talking to Nathan. I can't remember who it was. But he was talking and he was like, oh, like these things are going to be taken away. He was like, God, please just don't take your presence away from me. Like, if anything, like you can take everything, just not your presence. I want to be in your presence, right? So he was like, he was after his heart. Saul was talking, listing off all these things, like, please don't take the kingdom, don't take these things away from me, blah, blah, blah. And it was more so God. His heart wasn't for God. It was for these things that God had given him. And that's also another thing, a note that I took down. When you don't recognize the gifts, or when you don't recognize the gifts, you don't recognize the giver. So like when you don't recognize who gave you what you have, you don't pay attention to God. Or if you don't recognize God, you don't recognize the gifts he's given you. It works hand in hand. So I was just like, oh, that was like a note that I took from just reading through that. Whereas I would have just looked at it as a story rather than something that's factual. And these are people who lived. You know what I mean? And oftentimes I do tend to look at my Bible, or I used to look at my Bible as like, oh, these are stories. Oh, okay, like that's cool. It's kind of like a little tale. But no, like this is, what do they call it? The Bible basic instruction before leaving Earth. And like I was just like, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it was just cool.
No, most definitely. I want to talk about how I want to get like double back on the mental health.
For sure, yeah.
But I want to talk about like, you know, some of the things I do. I don't know if you struggle with any like type of like depression or anxiety or anything.
Sometimes, yeah, for sure.
So I mean, all those things are just attacks. Like I don't like to like. I used to really be like, oh, I have anxiety, but I don't like to say that anymore because I feel like it just like I claim that on my life. I don't like to claim that, but I was gonna ask basically like, what are some of the things that you like do to like distract yourself when you're going through things like that? Or
Well, that's another thing, like what you just mentioned. I don't like to champion things. I think that's a real problem that we have in the Western world.
right,
We identify things and we make things that are not of us, that have nothing to do with us, a part of our identity when
right,
it is not a part of who we are. Like if you
definitely,
take this thing out of the equation, what are you?
right,
You're not that. Like it has, if this were never there, if you were, I don't know how to explain it. Set yourself aside from all these problems. Who are you? You're not the problems that you have. You can't let them influence you. So a big thing I like to do, obviously, read my Bible, pray, but I like to get open with people. I think that's a big thing that I appreciate from having my parents. I can talk to my parents about everything.
wow,
Do I all the time? No. So I have my own group of guys too. Like one of my best friends, Turbo, and I talk to him the most out of anybody. Like if I'm going through something, struggling with something, I hit him up like, yo, struggling with this. Yo, I'm about to go do this. This is a bad idea. And him and I'll just talk, or we just go hang out, or whatever we got to do to make sure that both of us are locked in doing what we have to do. So, and I have very honest prayers with God. I think a lot of people try to curate their prayers or write prayers down for other people to
like
read.
he doesn't see and hear everything.
Yeah, he is omnipresent. He's always there.
Right.
So I have very honest talks with God. It's not bad to be frustrated. Like,
Mhm.
you can be frustrated. You know what I mean? But I also think it's important, like, for me, when I have all these problems and how I deal with them, I'm coming before, like, put my heart in a posture of I'm coming before the king. Like, I'm coming to talk. And people could say that, but a lot of people treat him as like a task manager. You know what I mean? Someone who's just like, oh, okay, what do you need? What do you need? No, I'm not. He's the king. So
Mhm.
I'm coming before the king with a request to see what's going on or like how I can get help. So like humbling myself in that area
Mhm.
and putting myself in the posture of like a child, which Jesus also talks about having the heart of a child, not being
Right.
childish, but having the heart of a child to understand that when I'm a child in the kingdom, what do you do or what are kids supposed to do when they're in trouble? You call on your dad like,
Mhm.
"Oh, my dad's gonna handle this," or blah blah blah.
Mhm.
That's how I need to cast my cares on him and let him handle it. Like I don't even have the power to handle these things because I don't fully understand the circumstance, situation, or
Facts.
where I'm being led to. So like a lot of the times I just try to remember and catch myself like, you're not dealing with this on your own.
Mhm.
You're not even about to handle this situation. You don't have the power to. Understand that God has put this in your life to learn something, but let him deal with it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's what I try to do. Does it work all the time? Do I always have that mindset? No. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer for me to catch on and
Facts.
really like do what I need to do. Or sometimes I do get stuck and then I waste time
Mhm.
dwelling on things that I just probably should have let go a long time ago. But yeah.
Yeah, I get the feeling stuck because sometimes I feel like back to being like the feeling alone. I feel like a lot of time I have no one to talk to, and I know that's
Hmm.
not true, but like I don't know, like I said, the enemy be whispering in your ear, like he makes you feel like you're alone. So sometimes I feel like I have no one to talk to. So like now, like lately, I'm like God's like always here. He knows
Hmm.
everything that's going on. Like I could talk to him, and like ever since I've been doing that, like everything has been so much
Hmm.
better.
I understand
Like
that. I
no
feel
good.
you. No, because like a lot of the times the reason why I feel alone,
Mhm.
like in that, or I'm like I don't have no one to talk to. I have people to talk to, but I want an intimate connection. And you could have intimate connection with your friends, but it only like I don't know. There's certain people who understand me who I could talk to, and a lot of my friends like that's why I have a problem. A lot of my friends who understood me, who I could really talk to, we're either not friends or they're dead. So like I can't talk
Mhm.
to certain friends. Like my best friends, they're dead. So I
Mhm.
can't talk to them about certain things that I used to be able to talk to, or when I was in a relationship, that was the easiest way to talk to people or whatever. But also I built up a codependence on another person, which you should never do.
Right.
So it was that, and I was just that's another thing, like, why can't I have an intimate relationship with God?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, why can't that be intimate? Because he wants to have an intimate relationship with everybody.
Facts.
Um, so yeah, I think that's a lot of the reason why I feel alone in at different seasons of my life. I'm like, why I have to be comfortable with being alone and not lonely? Because you could be
Mhm.
lonely in a room full of like people.
Definitely.
You could be very lonely in a room full of people who care about you,
Mhm.
but you could be alone and be okay. So I've been trying to get comfortable with being alone and just actually finding out who I am and what I want to do and yeah, all that. So
I feel like a lot of the times too, I try to distract myself like with work. Like I try to stay
hmm.
busy. Like when I'm like feeling like low or something, like I just try to like work crazy. But then that burns me out,
Hmm.
and then I feel overwhelmed. Like I feel like that's what really like had me like I can't. Oh, that's why I texted you. I was like, I don't know about doing the
Hmm.
podcast this week. You're like, just take a like mental health
Yeah, I
break.
was like, it don't matter. Like,
No, that really like I really appreciated that because I'm like people really don't understand like people getting mad like sometimes too when I don't like when I try to isolate myself,
hmm.
but I'm like I really be going through it. I don't know what else to do, so I was just
Hmm.
like I need a break. Like
No, I completely understand you. That's why that's another thing. Like people always, and I say I don't have friends. I have friends. I do.
mhm.
Like I'm not gonna say that and like hurt anybody's feelings or
No.
whatever because I know I have friends in my life. But like I don't know how to explain it. Like I have friends, but I don't like being around people all the
Yep.
time. Like there's a very select few I could be around like all the time,
Mhm.
but a lot of people that I'm around, and which is why I'm trying to get comfortable with being by myself. It feels like I have to work when they're around. Like you know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like you have certain
It burn
friends
you
where it's
out.
just like, okay, I feel like I'm working when I'm there, and I get exhausted. So,
Yep.
yeah, I just getting comfortable with being by myself and understanding that I'm not alone and I'm not lonely. I'm just
Yep.
bored often. Like a lot of the times I don't know what to do with my time, so I try to distract myself.
Mhm.
And when I'm not so chaotic and doing all these things and just alone, why don't I feel comfortable? Because I've built up an unhealthy, what is it called? An unhealthy pattern of just doing things all the time, which is why I also try to get away from social media because it makes me try to live fast. And I
Mhm.
don't need to. Like, we're not designed to be scrolling through and doing all these things all the time. It's just okay. And when I was younger, also, that's another thing. The reason why I want to get used to being alone is because I'm more creative. Like when you were younger and you didn't have all these things to do, you got creative with your time. And
Facts.
so that's another reason why I'm like, you need to get comfortable with being alone. You're an artist. You do
Mhm.
music. You're also doing clothing. You have ideas for videos and different things. When you're alone or when you're around all these people, you can't focus on what you're really trying to do or my goals or what I'm trying to do in life.
Facts.
So I'm like, oh, I'm alone. I have way more time to write music, and that's what I do. I write so much music when I'm alone,
Yep.
or I like sit, or I try to go on walks now, like just different things, or understand like I don't always have to also be reading my Bible and praying all the time.
Mhm.
Sometimes I need to not do that because it might be distracting me from God trying to talk to me,
Mhm.
or catching a word, or listen to music, different things like that. So
Or helping other people, like, through an
yeah, for
experience.
sure.
I feel like that just made me think of something, like, so I work with kids now. I've done it. I've been doing it for like a cool minute now, and the creative thing just made me think of that, like being around kids versus
Hmm.
adults. I have opened up a whole new creative avenue. Like I've been getting back into drawing. Like I forgot I could draw.
Hmm.
Like I'm an artist. Like you said, I'm an
Hmm.
artist too. Like I've been able to, like, my musical side. I always, like when I was smoking too, I felt like I had like writer's block. I could not write anything, and I used to think, like, smoking helps me like open my
Hmm.
mind, to write. But no, my poetry has been 10 times greater. My songs have been 10 times greater. And it's just like being around the kids, like they're really like bringing like things that I forgot that I could do, like back. I forgot I used to want to write a book. Like
Oh, for real?
I'm getting back into that. Yeah. But like just certain things like that, and like the music side too, it's just like I rather be with kids than adults sometimes, like,
Hmm.
because it's like, and they're teaching me so much new things just about like life and like myself, because you forget like how it used to be when you were a kid, like the way that their minds are and the way that they just like experience different things. It's like you realize, like, when you're an adult, like certain things aren't as big as you make them.
Hmm.
And when they're kids, it's like they just like brush certain things off, or they're emotional about certain things, but like certain things they just take, and it's
Hmm.
like, wow, like
They're
I
very
be
real.
tripping.
Yeah, they're
And
very
they're
real
very
with you.
real too. They be telling you the truth about everything, how you look. And I'm just like, I miss that. Like,
Hmm.
I need more real people around me. And that's facts. Like they're super real. So
That's what
like,
my dad told me, like, cause he was at a restaurant and he said something and he was telling me a story and I was like, "Why'd you say that?" He was like, as you get older, you realize you don't have much time left. So why not be real with the time
mm-hmm.
you have left? Why not talk to people and just get straight to the point, tell them
Yep.
exactly what's going on? And I was like, you know what? It's not as you get older, because you never know how much time you have left anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, I'm gonna do the same thing. So like I started doing it and people were a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
like frustrated with me. I remember my mom was talking to me about something and she was like, I don't know why they do this and da da. I was like, well, I mean, people only do what you allow them to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it was quiet in the car for a second. I was just like, oh man. I was like, did I say something wrong? And then she left for a little bit. And then
Mm-hmm.
like she went to the store and then she came back and she was like, you know what? I appreciate that. She was like, I appreciate that. She mentioned a Bible verse. I think it was like wounds from a friend. Something about wounds from a friend are better than like kisses and praises from an enemy, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so she was like, I understand, like you were being real with me and you told me what I really needed to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just like, okay. But like just different things like that, just being real with people and understanding that you'll get what you also put out. You reap what you sow. So
Facts.
same thing. Like I want more real people around me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be fake.
Yep.
Like
At all.
can't be fake. So
Another thing about kids too is that they question a lot of things. They're every 5 seconds, why? Why? I tell them to do something, why? And I'm just like, oh my god, it gets annoying. But I'm like,
mm-hmm.
I need to start questioning certain things too,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like when as you get older, you do start to like, just start going along with things more. And it's like,
Mhm.
no,
Yeah,
some
and we
things
call
do
kids
deserve a
naive.
question.
We call
Right.
kids naive, and they're asking why, but
Right.
we'll just believe people because they're an adult or
Right.
same age or level as us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no. There are people in the Bible who did that. They're called the Bereans. So
Mm-hmm.
like, they weren't like, what's the word? I don't know what the word is, but they weren't like questioning, like, oh, da, da, da. But they're like, oh, let me go and research this before I actually
Mm-hmm.
listen to you. Let me go and like understand why we're doing this before I actually go and do it. And so,
And sometimes it can seem like disrespect, but I'm starting to realize like it's not them being disrespectful. It's them really like curious on like you're asking me to do a task.
mm-hmm,
Why do I have to do this?
mm-hmm.
What
And
like
it's better to explain like
Mm-hmm.
it's better, and that's why we also have a problem in school because we do a lot of things without asking questions,
Yep.
and that's why uh the dude who really created the school system, I can't remember his name. Last name's Rockefeller, but like basically they wanted to create a school system to make people only smart enough to work for other people.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the times I see teachers killing the curiosity in kids,
Mm-hmm.
killing the creation in kids, so that they're only at a level to be able to do things for other people. And I'm like, that's why we have problems. We should be able to explain things in a way so that kids understand exactly why they're learning this topic or why we're learning certain things. I remember
Mm-hmm.
in school, there's a reason why a lot of kids cram. There's a reason why I don't remember what I did in school, like at all. I don't remember. I just graduated. I don't remember what I learned this past
Mm-hmm.
year, other than in my, I don't even know what the class is, but it was about like archaeology and like sediment and fossils and different things.
Mm-hmm.
I remember because she talked to us about why and how it applies and different things. And I
Mm-hmm.
actually got curious in a class that was just to get some extra credits. And because she explained why and what it's used for and different things and uh topography and different things, like crazy things that I really am not gonna need, but like it stuck. It stuck in my mind. Why? Because I understood why it was needed. But we don't learn that in school. It's just
Right.
cram, cram, cram.
Mm-hmm.
Do good on this exam, and here's a paper. Like you won. Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
stupid. So I
No,
do admire that in
definitely.
kids.
I definitely like I don't want to like bring up the anxiety thing, but I definitely like created like a test anxiety. So like
Mm-hmm.
when I take tests, like I know the information. Like I'm like super good at
Mm-hmm.
like every subject. But when I take a test, I literally
No,
like
I
fell
feel you.
almost like every time. At least the first time. And if I'm allowed to retake it,
Mm-hmm.
obviously I. But just based off the fact that I just feel like that pressure,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, that's really sad because I know a lot of kids deal with that too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that affects them mentally. School is like the biggest thing that I feel like affects kids mentally
Mm-hmm.
because just of like from peers or like just the teachers' pressure, parents' pressure, and I feel like parents really put that pressure too, like to make you like you have to do this, this, and that. You have to get this amount of grades, but then they don't want to help you do your homework.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want to
No, I
So
completely understand you on that topic. I had an amazing history teacher. I think it
mhm,
was at Heritage Christian. Hated the school, but the teacher was cool.
mhm,
Her name was Miss Nichols. She used to let me take tests verbally. So like,
yeah,
cause I would just freak out on the answers.
mhm,
So like, we had a test about World War II, and that's my topic. Like ever since a little kid, I've been obsessed with like World War II and different things.
mhm.
I'm actually going to a forest in France when I
Really
go. Yeah, when I go to Europe,
dope.
to visit one of the
Take
forests
pictures.
that
Send me
they fought in,
pictures.
and so she was like, take it verbally, and she was like, explain how World War II start to finish.
Mhm,
And so I just had my phone. I went on voice notes and talked about the whole war, start to finish, from Pearl Harbor to the Battle of the Bulge, different things or
mhm.
whatever, and just talked to her about it. And then she gave me an A. Like I was like, it's teachers like this that like understand that
Mhm.
kids are
Don't
able
all learn the
to,
same way.
yeah, are able to like regurgitate things or understand their knowledge comes out in different ways.
Right.
And so I was like, I really appreciated her for that because
Mhm.
other teachers wouldn't have done that for me.
Right. That's really nice.
And she was real
Um
for that.
yeah, I also want to talk about like the importance of understanding like the people around you. I feel
Hmm.
like um a lot of the times I also like I don't really like texting.
Hmm.
And I feel like a lot of people put that pressure on me. They're like, "Oh, like you don't text me back or you're ghosting me." Like,
Hmm.
and it's just like sometimes I don't want to touch my like I see the message, I see my phone, but I
Hmm.
don't it's extra energy you have to put in to texting people back
Hmm.
all day long, especially when you're trying to do other things.
Hmm.
It's like, why should I feel forced to text you? If you want to talk to me about something real, you can call me,
Hmm.
like. But I feel like that like puts a lot of pressure on me. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand. Like they don't try to understand what other people are going through. And that becomes really frustrating for me. Like,
For sure. I feel like I have something on my nose. Is there something on my nose or in my nose?
no.
Okay, yeah, because my nose was itching. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not trying to be on camera with something on my nose,
No,
but
there's
it's
nothing
itching
there.
like crazy. But no, I completely understand what you mean because like I don't always do this. There are certain people. Okay, so I feel bad for saying this. I have categories on like in my phone, not literal categories, but mental categories. I'm like, I'm probably not gonna text you back.
Yeah.
I'm cool with you. I'm cool with everybody, but all right, I'm gonna text you back because it's not gonna be no problem. Like I'm fine with talking to you, but you are drama. So like,
Yeah.
no. But I think with me, I have to vocalize that because one thing I've been learning is that expectations that are if you have unverbalized or I don't know what the word is. You have unverbalized expectations, then it falls on you. So
Mhm.
like there'll be certain people I don't want to talk to. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. They're starting to feel some type of way. And I could have easily said, like, I can't talk right now. And so it's communicated. It's a communicated
Mhm.
expectation or a communicated standard. It's just communicating how you feel so that you can feel that way. Because if I feel some type of way and I don't say it, and then other people are starting to feel whatever, it really is on me because I'm the one who I'm the one who set the temperature for what is it? For the conversation or for the atmosphere of whatever it is. So like if I don't want to text somebody, I'll open my phone. I'll be like, yo, give me a minute. I'll talk to you later. Something just so I could take my time and someone doesn't feel like they're being ghosted. Because
Maybe
I
that's
do
my fault.
understand. I
Babe.
do understand not wanting to reply to people because
Yeah.
half the time I don't talk to
I
people.
feel like
Like,
people don't deserve sometimes a reply though, because it's like,
no,
what
sometimes
type
they
of
don't.
value are you bringing to this conversation? Like, what are you doing? Or like, I don't want to. I'm sorry, I just don't want to talk to you. Like,
No, I
you're
understand
not
that.
like asking me how I am. You're not trying to teach me something.
Hmm.
It's like but maybe that is my fault. Maybe I do need to communicate better.
No, I understand
But
that.
it's just like, ugh, like this is a waste of time.
No, I understand that completely. Because when I want time for me, I want time for me. Like
Mhm.
I don't. Sometimes and that's also another thing that I was talking to you about earlier. This kind of ties back into it. It might sound like we're running the other. It's gonna circle back around. Just give me a second. Let me cook.
Go ahead.
But like I was talking about earlier, being in God's presence
Mhm.
and really like feeling okay, like in His Word, in His Word, in His Word. When I have water, living water, being poured into me, something that never runs out, and when I'm in His presence, then I'm able to pour into other people.
Right.
Because a lot of the times I can't talk to people. When I'm not doing well spiritually, I can't talk to people. It's just
Yep.
not good because I
Mhm.
have nothing to give out. And it
Right.
seems like I'm nonchalant or I can't. You're not my priority. Like
Mhm.
simply put, you are not my priority. So I'm just like not really trying to give. But I noticed that when I am more so in God, like I'm okay to do things for other people, even when other people aren't doing things for me, because there have been times where I haven't been able to give to other people and I needed people to pour into me and they didn't.
Mhm.
And I remember that feeling and I'm like, I'm gonna be a tone setter. I'm gonna try and live to be a tone setter and live to like just do what Jesus would do
Mhm.
because he said anything you were doing for the least of me, you were doing anything you were doing for the least of people, you're doing for me. So whenever I have the opportunity to pour into someone, and I know I can, even when I don't feel like it, I do it to just get in the heart of being selfless. But
Right.
also, you have to understand how to gauge it out in order to respect yourself. Because if you're not good, then you're not going to be good for other people. So
Definitely.
that's why I understand what you mean. Because
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
cannot always put myself out there to give like
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like people feed off of like, your like energy, and they feed off of like your positive
that. Hmm.
like, like vibes and stuff. And I feel like when I'm already low and then you're still trying to like, I just like you said,
Hmm.
I can't like.
But that's also you have to also limit the access that people have to you. And
Mhm.
that's why I understand what you're talking about messages. Like there are certain people who don't have my number. Like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, da, 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 meet you. No. And it's not to be mean. Like you got my Instagram, my social media, and I could delete it. So I don't feel bad about not being able to message people when I know it's the right thing. When I know I'm not being called to have this conversation and I need to respect my own time because if God is telling me to respect my time, I'm being commanded to respect my time. As
Yeah.
silly as that might sound, I need to respect what I'm being commanded to do or what I'm being told to do. Because he might be gearing me up to be able to help someone. He might be pouring into me in a certain way. So I just, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm talking about a bunch of random stuff or like it's not really correlating.
No,
But
it's making sense. I wanted to share a story, something that I thought was like really about like, you know, giving your like, cause it ties into what you just said about giving your time and like, or just like, you know, like helping certain people. So my tire popped the other day.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I seen that. Yeah.
So I apparently I burned rubber. So the back
Really?
seat, yeah, it was like the threads were showing. It was really bad. But
How did it happen? What were you doing?
I was speeding. But yeah, but I didn't know my back two tires were messed up. But yeah, so my tire popped and it was like 3 in the morning. I was coming back from the beach. And I had to like, you know, call my grandma because she's the closest person in LA. I was in LA. So it was just really bad because I felt so bad because she can like, you know, she barely can walk and stuff, but like she has AAA. This is why I need AAA. But anyway, long story short, we're at the gas station waiting for the AAA guy to like load my car. And there's this like this lady who's on like some type of substance. I don't know. I'm not gonna, you know, specify whatever she was on, but she was on something. And she was walking by the car. My grandma's always trying to give to people. Like, so she starts like, you know, talking to the lady, and me and Maya are standing outside the car, but we start when she starts talking to the lady, I start walking up to the car because I'm like, oh my God, grandma, like stop talking to this lady. But she's over here asking her, she's like, so what are you doing out here or whatever? Or she was asking her like, you know, is she hungry and stuff? And she's like, no, like I want a cigarette. And then she was like, my grandma was like, well, I can't help you there. So then we get in the car or whatever. And I'm like, grandma, why are you talking to this lady? She was like, I don't know. I just feel bad for her, blah, blah. And I was like, don't feel bad for her. She put, you know, herself in this predicament or whatever. And I could just, cause I read people's energy. Like I could just already feel like, you know, that she was on something. So then my grandma was like, she started pulling out her wallet. And I'm like, I know you're not about to give this lady some money right now. Like she just told you she's going to buy some cigarettes. Like, so then she's like, yes, no, I'm going to give her. I was like, grandma, do not give her that money. And she's like, Sarai, I'm going to do it. So then she pulls out the money, tries to hand it to her. So she calls the lady over and she's like, here. And the lady's like, no. And then she walked away. And I was like, see, like, this is why you don't help certain people, because I was like, she was super rude, you know? And it's just like, I just felt like God was like already like trying to tell me like, bro, she's not the right person to help. And it's like, I feel like you can't help everyone as much as you want to, but like.
No, I understand that. That has to do with discernment.
Definitely.
Like, I feel
like she should have
this is something I learned from my dad. Not letting the situation change your temperature or who you are. My dad, it doesn't matter what type of person or whatever situation he's in, he's going to have the same heart even if someone rejects it. Sometimes sometimes God is gearing you up to do certain things. So like, no, I'm not going to allow you to help that person, but I appreciate you for having the heart and getting into the practice of giving. So like, I do that a lot of times. I remember, and it helped me. I didn't have a lot of money. I was depressed. I think it was like more so like towards December or January. I was just depressed. And this person, nobody like for months, nobody been like, hey, how are you doing? Hey, have a good day or whatever. Like asking how I'm genuinely doing. I was walking into a CVS and someone just was like, hey, how you doing? Like a random lady who was like asking for different things. She just asked me how I was doing. Like, cause she saw how I was getting out of the car. She didn't even ask me to sign or donate or nothing, but that's what she was there to do. And I was just like, dang, like that really helped me. So I was like, okay, I'm about to go to Starbucks. Let me ask if she needed something. She declined. She was like, no, I'm good or whatever. I don't know what she was thinking. You know how some people are just like, no, like, I don't know what you're doing. I was like, oh, she probably thought I was trying to hit on her or something. So I was like, nah. I was like, that's not the case, but whatever. But the months that ensued after that, God was asking me to give and do things like me taking that one chance to just get in the heart of giving, helped gear me up, and also helped me get a bunch of opportunities to make money to be able to give and tithe and do different things. So I was just like, okay, it's about my heart. Yeah. Not so much the situation, just about me being me no matter what situation I'm in. Definitely. So yeah, because there are certain people as you don't want to enable someone to continue to do certain things.
That's what I didn't want. I was like, whatever you give her this money for, I could feel in my heart that she's gonna use it for something bad. And I'm like, I don't want her to continue this habit because she already doesn't look well. So whatever she's doing out here at 3, 4 in the morning, it can't be good. No, like, you know? So, but that really made me think, like, wow, like, I'm gonna start doing that, like, like, going around, like, asking people how they are, because that is true. Some people, especially, like, homeless people, like, people don't talk to them,
You
or
don't
they
even look
ignore
them in the
them,
eyes.
right? And that just, like, made me, that just touched me a little bit. I'm like, I'm gonna start talking to them.
That's why I carry cash on me,
Mhm.
or I'm trying to start
I
carrying cash
don't
on me
carry cash at
more,
all.
because everything's digital, and I feel so bad for homeless
Yeah,
people because
right.
nobody has money to give them. So I
They're like, you
remember
guys know?
I was so happy I found money in my pocket, and I was
Mhm.
driving and I was getting off the freeway. I was like, oh my gosh, I found money. Right when I look up, homeless man, I was like, that's why you gave me money. I was like, that's why I
Mhm.
found the money. All right, God. Like, fine. All
And
right,
it's
just roll the
so
money I
crazy
gave
because
it
when
to you.
I do have cash, and I always see, like, somebody on the, like, side of the freeway or something, and I'm like, wow, like, this is, like, perfect timing. Anytime I have cash on me, I give them, like, all that I have. I'm like, this is all I have, but, like, here you go. And, like, I feel like they always, like, I always know it's from God, because they be like, like, God bless you. I can just feel it, like, and it's like, I feel like I make their day, because I'm like, they're probably hungry. It be cold. It be raining. I'm
For
like,
sure.
it's bad, like, circumstances. I'm like, I just feel really bad.
What do you feel God's been telling you, like, recently, just about yourself or just in different signs or whatever?
About myself? Well, that's a good question. Um, well, what I can say is lately that managing emotions, he's been testing me with that,
Mm-hmm.
because I can get very irritated, especially working with kids. Sometimes they don't listen. Um, I get very irritated, or even, like, in general with, like, people around me. You know, just life,
Mm-hmm.
work. I can get very irritated, and I'm just like, in that book, it tells you, like, God gave us emotions. We're allowed to have feelings,
Mm-hmm.
but it's all about in your reactions and how you deal with them. So if you get angry, you're not supposed to cuss somebody out
Mm-hmm.
or beat somebody up. You process, like, okay, I'm mad, God. Like, like, how do you want me to go about this
Mm-hmm.
next step? But you're never supposed to use your emotions, because we're allowed to get angry. He gave us
Mm-hmm.
the emotion to be angry. So I just have to, like, work on that. I'm still working on that, like,
Mm-hmm.
the way I react to situations. But
Me too, because me in
managing my
traffic
emotions,
sometimes. In
yes. Oh,
traffic,
that's the worst.
like, I don't have a vulgar mouth, but sometimes I'm in traffic and it just
Oh,
comes out. I'm like, why
why?
would you do that?
Yeah,
Like,
same. I'll be like,
because
sorry, God.
I don't even have to use my horn like some of the times, because I'm just
Mhm.
like, I see what's going on. So, like, I could stop before, but I'm just like, why do you even have the nerve to do something stupid like that? Like, I get
Mhm.
so mad, and then
I did something so good not too long ago. I was driving to my grandma's house, my great grandma's house in LA, and I was following my grandparents because my grandma was having a birthday, so I was following them.
mhm,
And a car had gotten in front of me, so, like, nicely, went
mhm,
around them, got a thing. So I guess that kind of pissed them off. So then they started speeding up, trying to get in front of me. So then I just did it again, and then they just, like, tried to, like, do it again. Like, they tried to, like, I don't know, do some weird stuff, like break in front of me, and then they flipped me off. And I just, like, I remained calm. I was like, I didn't honk, I didn't do anything. I was just like, it's okay. They probably, I don't know what they thought I was
mhm,
cutting them off, but I was like, I'm literally just following my grandparents.
mhm.
Like, but that's why I just didn't react, and I was, like, really proud of myself in that moment. I was
Oh,
like,
you better than me, because I don't say stuff or whatever, but, like, I think people don't realize who's in the car some of the times.
yes, and I'm my
So,
own
like, they'll
person.
do stuff or weird stuff, and then they'll pull up on me, and I'm looking, and then they just like, nope, don't want a problem. It's just like funny. Like, I
No,
remember I
for
was
real.
in Burbank somewhere. This dude, like, it was merging. He didn't want to let me in. This white dude, he like pulled up next to me, flipped me off, and then I think he saw me in the mirror. I rolled down my window just like to look at him. Bro sped off so fast. I was just like, but I was like, I don't even need to do that, because one day you're just gonna meet the wrong person, like just doing something,
Yes,
whatever.
that's what I think too. And I'm like, you never know who's in the
Mm-hmm.
car, so I don't even be trying to tweak on nobody, because I'm like, they could have a weapon. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not worth it.
Yeah, and that's why I don't do anything. Like, I'm not strapped like my brother is. Like,
Mhm.
he legally has a firearm, whatever. I don't. I don't have
Mhm.
firearms, nothing like that. But there are people who do and are on the road
Mhm.
and are crazy. So I just try to be calm. And that's, I think, just to piggyback off what you were saying, or not off what you were saying, but just what God's teaching me right now in this season of my life. I think it's just more so confidence. And also, like I was talking to you about before, about how I was like, oh, people were talking to me about different things. They had weak faith.
Mhm.
I realized, like, it's okay to have confidence. It's okay to have pride, not be prideful, but have pride. Like, when God created all of creation, when He created man, after He created us, He said, and it was good. He acknowledged that what He did was good. His work was good.
Mhm.
When I'm in God and I'm allowing God to influence my decisions and do everything and work through me, I can have pride in what's going on and acknowledge the goodness of the work that He's doing through me.
Mhm.
It's not me being cocky or prideful. it's me having pride in the one who's working through me.
Right.
And a lot of the times there were different people like, oh, you're being cocky and different things. I was like, I really don't feel like I am. I really don't. And he's also like, that's what he's been teaching me. Know who I am, know my intentions, know what he's doing through me, and have confidence in who I am and what I'm doing. And so that's been just like a really big help, like a confidence booster. Like I've been more confident in just me and who I am and what I'm doing, to where I never was able to walk around in public just not caring with a camera recording whatever it is I'm doing.
Right.
Because I don't gotta worry about everybody around me. Like I'm
Mhm.
doing what I'm doing because I need to do it. I'm doing me. And so yeah, that, and just feeling comfortable in his presence and understanding that, like I think I posted on my story, I was sitting there realizing that like nothing matters. Like I was sitting at my graduation, they were talking about all these different things and oh, these achievements and accolades and different things and putting people on. I was like, none of what you're talking about matters if God
Literally.
doesn't have a hand in it. Because
Mhm.
anything that you start without God and want to have a method or whatever, you're gonna have to continue doing it without God in order to sustain it. And
Mhm.
that's not what I'm trying to do. So
Definitely.
I was like, no. I was sitting there, I was like, you're blind leading other people who are blind. I was like,
Mhm.
this is fruitless and hollow. So I was just like, I don't want to live like that. I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, it was crazy. I was just sitting there just like a realization. I started looking around like, this is so pointless. I was like,
Everybody's
it's cool.
lost.
I was like, it's cool, but it's pointless at the same time too, because all of these accolades and all the things that you're spurring people on to do, he doesn't have a hand in it. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. We're here for a very short time. Like there's a time limit
Mhm.
on how long we're here. There's no time limit on eternity. Like that is forever.
Forever.
So I'm so worried about something right here rather
Mhm.
than eternity, which is the rest of time. Like no, not even time, just, you know what I mean? You can't even explain it. We
Mhm.
don't even have like the
Yeah, the
function to
mental
explain
capacity.
what
Yeah.
eternity is. So I was just like,
Mhm.
wow, I'm focused on this. No, it does not matter. Unless God has a hand in it, I'm not about to really care too much for these little things that everybody wants to make you feel are important.
Mhm.
No, my importance is not going to come from these little things. Whatever he tells me to do, whatever work I got to do, that's what I'm cool with. And that's also how I've been shaping my decisions for school and everything I'm doing. Like, I don't, I don't want to go anywhere unless he tells me to go somewhere. I don't
Yeah.
want to do anything unless he tells me to do it.
Facts.
Because in his plan for me is where I find peace, where I find my purpose and everything. So I was like, it could be hard. Anything I'm doing could be completely hard and crazy and chaotic and just whatever. But if I'm in his presence, I'm gonna find peace. I'm gonna find contentment knowing that I'm doing the right thing and I'm
Facts.
being taken care of regardless.
I feel like something you actually made me notice, like too, and also like, you said like what's God been telling me. So like one thing that's been consistent throughout my whole life is like my passion for music. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
always loved, like that's never changed. Like you know, I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a neurologist.
For real?
I wanted to be so many things, but the one thing that's always stayed consistent is music. Like
For real?
my love for music, yes. And my mom will always be like you were saying, like you know, she will always say like you know like if it like you know the music industry is very demonic, like you know it's
Mm-hmm.
not a good idea. So I always like it was not just that, but it was just certain other things a lot of people would say that would put doubt into my head. So even to now, like I still like I'm like you always be like you know inviting me to the stew, and I'm like
Mm-hmm.
I want to go, but it's like I feel like someone's holding me back. But I feel like I finally realized like I want to make gospel music, and I feel like you kind of like you doing that like inspired me.
I appreciate it.
No, that like oh.
Yeah, you all good.
Oops. But no, seriously, like that really inspired me because I'm like, wow, like that's literally what God, like that's why God put that, you know, that love in my heart because it's like he wanted me to use my voice, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for something like that, like to like for his work. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you for that.
For sure. Yeah, no problem. No problem.
But I also want to wrap this up. So, you know, is there anything else you want to like share with them? Like, you know, before
No,
we go?
unfortunately, like there was something I wanted to talk about earlier, but I completely forgot it.
Really?
So I'll just, if it comes back to me when we film again,
Yes.
I'll fill y'all in. But yeah,
Okay.
that's all I got for now. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, just talking about mental health and a plethora of other things. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know in the comments anything that you would like to see us talk about or anything you guys are worrying about, or hit us up on our social media pages just to stay tapped in and yeah, just so we can bring better content to you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you guys later. Peace out.
Bye.